Now for final part of this video, I have used same techniques and same pencils as I have used before. So darkening the smaller portions which are leftovers of eyes, eyebrows, ears, neck, which are more darker as compared to different part of his face. So just darkening them and blending it with the medium length blending stump. You can see that smaller portions here are much more darker as compared to upper part. So darkening this chin layer, or you can say that the main part of this line is much more darker as compared to upper and lower of neck. So of course its main shadow will be on downward side. So make small layer a bit of more darker here and layer a bit more lighter here, but it will be differentiated between neck and this chin portions. Now making a small pores, or you can say that directional lines as compared to different faces here. It is the most darkest part here and more darkest part here and more lightest part here. So I've just left this part which is much lighter and blended it with a blending stump. So now this part of his face is much darker or shadowed as compared to this one. So just using a blended stump, I have darkened them. Now just using a blending stump which is the smallest part, so that you can detail or you can give a detail which is the smallest one. Now using a blending brush, or you can say that mechanical or a makeup brush, blend the small portions which are leftovers on his face. Now using a sharpened rubber, you can give highlights which will give you a realistic look. So this part which is of hair and eyebrow is much more darker, or you can say that darker here and lighter on the upper part of his ear, and I have just darkened it or shadowed it with a rubber pencils. Now lighting, or you can say that main part, you can also use a mono eraser for making highlights. I don't have those mono eraser, so I have just sharpened the eraser I have and make it a pointed one. So this part of his neck is much more darker as compared to another part, so I've just darkened it with a 6B pencil. I lost my video file, so I'm just using an audio file to make a complete portrait sketch which will be of clothes. So he is wearing a red clothes, which is the most important part of his clothing in Money Heist, which is red and little bit of darker, or you can say that blacker part. So as we all know that left hand side of his face is much more lighter as compared to right one. So of course his neck shadow will be on left hand side. So I have just used a charcoal pencil for making those darker parts. As you can see that I have used a sketch pen for making those red lights, or you can say that red clothes. And if you want to give a darker portions, or you can say that shadowed, or you can make shadows with charcoal pencils. But if you will use a charcoal pencils above a sketch pen, then your page will be teared out. So I will recommend you to make darker values of charcoals first and then use a sketch pen above it. So as you can see that charcoal and sketch pens are blending easily. Making right hand side of his collar, just darken or use a sketch pen for making the highlights from reference picture. Now for making outlines first, just see that where are darker values and leave them for charcoal pencils. As you can see that charcoal pencils and sketch pens are totally different. Using charcoal pencils above sketch pen, it will tear out your page, and using a charcoal pencils below sketch pen, or you can use a charcoal pencils before sketch pens, it will be a most useful thing. Now as you can see that it is giving you a totally flat look, or our total goal is to make a darker or realistic sketch. So darkening the most parts first, then using a sketch pen, it is a most useful thing. Now for making a realistic look, just go for darker values, which is his head, or you can say that head covered by Money Heist main thing, which is his mask, which is on left hand side of his face. So now after making the darker values, just make smaller portions of red lights things and darken it with a charcoal pencils. But you will see that smaller portions which are not looking realistic as a cloth should look, or you can say that our total goal is to make a realistic sketch, but these portions right now of clothes is not looking realistic. So for that, it is the main part which I will give you or tell you afterwards. Right now I'm just darkening the middle portions, which is the darkest part as compared to any other, and sketching with a sketch pen darker values. So using a sketch pen, or you can say that you can also use a colored pencil, but I will recommend you to use a sketch pen because it will give you a lighter look. But if you are, or you can say that if you want a realistic sketch, you can go for a main shadowed thing, or you can say that a colored pencil. Now I have used a graphite pencil for giving those highlights which are less darker as compared to black charcoal. I have used a graphite pencil because it is more blended as compared to charcoal pencil on sketch pens. You can also use a graphite pencil which is 3B. Don't go more darker as compared to other, because if you go for 6B or 8B, it will give you a totally dark look and it will not give you a realistic look, as you can see on his right hand side of his corner, or you can say that collar. It is a realistic look. If you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like, share it with friends and family, and comment down your questions and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. That is. I always thought that does art require good quality products? Then I came up with the idea of sharing my artworks with you all and how I do it. Best advice I can give you for a good portrait sketching is that start sketching right now. Always remember, artists make art. Art doesn't make artists. Subscribe now by clicking here, or the lid of your pencil will break every time you draw. And click here if you want to learn more about portrait drawings.